It's that time of year again. It's time for the World Juniors. So today we're going to look at a preview for the 2024 World Junior Championships. Take a look at all 8 teams, what we expect some of the top players to look out for, and what I think is going to go down. We'll prep you for the tournament coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. This video is being posted to my channel here on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2023. It was recorded ahead of time. Don't worry, I'm actually taking the day off as you watch this video. I'm most likely enjoying time with family and friends and hopefully having a fun Christmas day. So I don't usually ever record videos on Christmas Day. There's usually nothing really noteworthy to discuss, but the World Juniors is a tournament that's a favorite for many, including myself, which will kick off on Boxing Day on December 26th. So normally between the 24th and 25th is when I get up my video for the preview of the tournament. Gives people a chance to take a break when they have time on Christmas Day to get the tournament all kind of queued up in their heads, looking forward to what they have to see here and going to learn what's going on. So of course this tournament will feature 10 teams internationally, and we will not have the Russians participate this year because of the sanctions placed against them by the IIHF because of what's going on between Russia and Ukraine. It's unfortunate. It's really hard to say you have a real true best on best when not all countries can participate, but this is the world we're in. This is the situation we're faced with, and currently this is what we have to work with. So regardless of our thoughts on that, that's where things stand. This year, of course, in Group A, we have Team Canada with Team Sweden, Team Finland, Team Germany, and Team Latvia. And over in Group B, we have Team USA along with Czechia, Slovakia, Switzerland, and Norway. So fair to say the Group A and the Canadians, for example, who are the multiple-time reigning gold medalists, have themselves a pretty tough group, but they might have a tougher round robin to go up against here because of that, but that should at the same time, where the playoffs are always a crossover type of style, could make that a little bit easier for them. Hard to say, but we're going to take a quick look here at each team. We'll talk about some of the top players. Obviously, more of the prospects that play in North America are players that I tend to be more familiar with. We're not going to ignore the European teams by any means. We are going to look at them all. It's just my level of knowledge on the Canadian American prospects, for example, are going to go a lot deeper, and I'll probably spend a little bit more time just because my knowledge is there. So if you're watching this and you're from Europe or you're a fan of the European countries, certainly give you the best I can, but ultimately, I do focus more on the North American prospects just based on where I'm located and what I have access to see more frequently. But looking at Group A and Team Canada, of course, like I said, the multiple-time double gold medalists here the last couple of years. Can they go for a third in a row? They've had streaks and stretches before when we've seen them win 4 or 5 years in a row, but I think this year is going to be tough. I really do. I think they're going to have a good team this year. There's lots to like about the Canadian roster, but I don't know that they have the star power that we've seen before, but time will tell. I could be wrong on that. This team is definitely going to be fun to watch. There's lots of skill, but I don't know. It's usually when in the last few years we've seen a lot of returning players. They don't have that this year. They only have one returning player, and it's Owen Beck, Canadians prospect, Montreal. And Beck was not even on the roster to start the tournament last year. He was an injury replacement, replacing Colton Dock. So ultimately, he was a part of the tournament for enough time that he got a good experience, but he's the only guy coming back. So it's a younger, inexperienced team in that sense when it comes to this tournament at this level. Of course, the Canadians are going to be having Macklin Celebrini a part of their roster, of course, playing at Boston University in the U.S., but a projected number 1 overall selection in the 2024 NHL Draft. Another very talented, special type player, but is he at a level of a Connor Bedard? We've seen Bedard do special things in this tournament. I don't know that he's going to be quite at that level, but Celebrini is a very, very exciting, talented kid, and for a lot of people not familiar with him, it's going to be their opportunity to get familiar with him. He's going to probably have a bit of a coming out party, but it is typically a 19-year-old tournament. They tend to be the players who dominate the most. So to come in as anywhere from age 16, 17, 18 and to do really well and stick out is quite an accomplishment. But Celebrini will be on full display. They've also got Samuel St. Hilaire, goalie from the Q, on their roster as well as a draft-eligible goalie, and Owen Allred from Sault Ste. Marie in the Ontario Hockey League as well, another forward who's been putting up big numbers in the Ontario League this year. All draft eligible, of course. They do have some pretty deep offensive depth. They thankfully did get a little bit of help from the NHL with the Boston Bruins sending centerman Matt Poitras back to the Canadian roster. Of course, he started the year in the NHL and gained valuable experience. They also hoist some other highly talented players, higher draft picks, including Matt Savoy in Buffalo. We get a couple of Leaf picks in Fraser Minton and Easton Cowan. You get Connor Geekie there from Arizona. Jordan Dumais, a Halifax Moosehead pick with the Jackets prospect, of course. You've also got Denton Matejchuk, a top defenseman, Columbus draft pick, Matisse Rousseau, likely, I think, could be the goalie that runs with things for the Canadian squad here for the Halifax Mooseheads. He is not drafted. He's actually been passed over in the draft a few times, but he is at a point where he'll likely get a free agent contract. He's played really well this year, even scoring a goalie goal in the Q earlier this season. So I think, like I said, there's lots to like. They had a couple of replacement players on D. Unfortunately, Tanner Molendijk and Tristan Luneau are going to miss this tournament, which is an unfortunate situation for them and a fairly big blow for the Canadian roster as well. But they brought in Ty Nelson and Jorian Donovan to replace them, who are certainly capable of helping out as well. So like I said, lots to like about the Canadian squad. Just not much. It's been a while since they had so few returning players. And I don't know. I mean, will they contend for gold and be in the mix for the medals? I think they will be. A lot of other times you thought they were more of a lock to very well at least make it to the gold medal game. I don't know if we can say that this year. So time will tell. We'll see how things go. But they'll be in the mix, just not a sure thing to win. With the Swedish team, they're going to have a real good team as well. They haven't won gold since 2012, but they typically always do really well at the round robin section of the tournament. They tend to, for some reason, in the last decade or so, have had a hard time when it comes to the playoff rounds. I don't know what it is, but they have 9 returning players, and there's a lot of talent. I think the Swedish team, if they can get over that playoff hurdle of not getting it done, I'm not sure what it is, they will have an excellent shot at not only a medal, but being in the mix for gold as well. Obviously Jonathan Lekiri-Maki, Sandin Pellikka, another top player, Liam Ogren, Noah Ostlund, Philip Bystad. This team has a lot of talent. Like I said, a lot of experience. They have an older group, which will certainly help get them to a great round robin record for sure. I think the Canada-Sweden game in the round robin will be very telling. Might give us a better indication who has a better chance to be the top team in Group A, and whoever has the better chance to maybe go deeper in the playoffs here. So ultimately, the Swedes will be right there. Top 2 teams in this group for sure, Canada, Sweden, and be interesting to see how things play out. The team Finland will be next. They are a team that has not a lot of experience and not a lot of firepower, but they've had some really good teams, and they've put up some really good players over the years. This is a team you can't take lightly, even though they have a younger squad this year. Konsta Helenius, who's also one of the top first-round picks for the 2024 draft, will be on this team and will be getting a lot of attention. Likely will stand out as one of their better players. They also have Emil Henning and Jesse Pulkkinen as well, also draft eligible on this young Finnish squad. Like I said, lots of talent there, just not as much experience. So the Finns will, I think, still give teams some headaches. I think they're going to give them a handful. I don't know that they're going to see as much success as we've seen at times before. You're probably seeing a player like Lenny Haminaho likely being their top player and top, go-to kind of player in clutch situations. But will the Finns compete for a medal? I don't know that they can get it done this year unless these young guys really surprise us. But we'll see where things go. It will still be a fun team to watch regardless. The German team, they will be a team that's going to be, along with Latvia, will be fighting for their lives to remain in this group and not face relegation. They've had a hard time as of late. Hard to say how much success they're going to have this year, but they do have 7 returning players, which should bode well to hopefully get them to maybe be at least ahead of Latvia, but that's going to be tough. Those two teams will be battling most likely for the last, who's going to be last and second last in this group. Amongst the returning players, they have Philip Sin, Norin Panocha, Julian Lute as well. So all players to watch. The German team, like I said, not quite as deep and as talented as we've seen. Obviously, they've produced some pretty amazing talent, including, obviously they have players like Leon Draisaitl, Timmy Stützle, JJ Peterka, Mo Seider, all to NHL. I don't know if there's anybody on that team this year that really stands out to be at those players' level. So we'll see, but the German team will probably have a tough time, but they're certainly going to be hopefully fighting so that they don't face relegation. Same goes for Latvia. This time, Latvia is going to have a tough team. They don't have a lot of players there with a ton of experience. They do have a few players that have been in this tournament for multiple years, including Dons Lamelio and Sandis Villamanis, who will both be facing competition in this tournament for the third time. So the Latvians, I don't expect a lot. They're going to have a tough time against some of the stronger teams like Canada, Sweden. You never know, though. When the Finland, Germany, Latvia games, when those 3 teams end up playing each other, will be a little bit more interesting to see what that competition is like. But at the end of the day, this group likely will be dominated by Canada and Sweden. Now, over in Group B, like I said, you have U.S., Czechia, Slovakia, Switzerland, and Norway. And probably the weaker group of the two, but at the same time, still lots alike. I mean, the USA team is completely stacked. One of the favorites for the gold medal for sure. I personally think the U.S. might even be the favorites for me. I'm going to probably say that I think the U.S. and the Swedes are my top 2 picks for gold. I think Canada will be in the mix. Obviously, being Canadian, I love to see them win again. But realistically, I'm going to say that Canada might have a better shot at either bronze or silver than they do gold this year. But the American team is pretty stacked. They're going to be a team that you're going to see play with a fast game, high puck possession, control type of game, very quick on the transition. If you turn the puck over in a neutral zone, they are going to make you pay. You're looking at players like Will Smith, Cutter Gauthier, Gabriel Perreault, Ryan Leonard, Rutger McGroarty, who's named captain. You've got some very talented defensemen like Seamus Casey, Lane Hudson in the back end. They have good goaltending as well. I don't know. Like, this team is loaded with firepower and are pretty stacked all around. So I think the Americans are likely going to win Group B. Probably do so relatively easily, but they will have some competition from Team Czechia. Now, Czechia is probably the second best team, I think, in this group. They are going to be returning with a pretty solid competitive team. Of course, they surprised last year, faced Canada in the gold medal game and walked away with silver. They're still going to have players like Yuri Kulich and Edward Shale. They're going to have another Jiricek in their lineup. David Jiricek's little brother, Adam Jiricek, is on this team, and he's a pretty solid player as well. So again, they got a lot of returning players. They had a great experience last year. Still have some of their top guys. They will give U.S. a run, but at the end of the day, I think they're probably the second best group or team in this group, in my opinion. But certainly have some interesting players there that gained some pretty valuable experience last year and probably gained a lot of confidence as well. So we'll see how they make out. The Slovaks are going to have 6 returning players from this team. Last year, they have 6 players on their roster that have been drafted in the top 2 rounds in the past couple of NHL drafts, including goalie Adam Gahan, Dalibor Dvorsky, who's having a solid year, Philip Macer, Samuel Honzek, that's to name a few. Again, the Slovaks do have some talent. They will have some good players to look out for, but overall, they're probably going to be somewhere in the middle of the pack with this group. Like I said, the U.S. to me are the powerhouse of the group. Czechia is, a distant but not too far off second. Like I don't distant might not be the right word, but they're coming up and going to give the U.S. a tough time. I think the Slovaks will be probably somewhere in the middle. Team Switzerland, they are going to be Probably one of the weaker teams in this group, but they should be able to finish ahead of Norway, I think. They do have one of their top players to watch, which is one of the higher scorers in the defenseman category of the Ontario Hockey League here in Canada. That's Rudwin Dioncio, who's putting up a crazy amount of points in the OHL. So the Swiss team, not a lot of flash and firepower, not a lot of name power there as well. But again, like I said, I think they'll have a tough time. Should be able to hopefully beat Norway, but that might be but all they can do unless they surprise. We'll see. The Norway team, of course, is in this group for the first time. They won the lower level group and had earned the right to move up to the top division for the first time. So the Norwegian team likely going to be in tough. The competition at this level is going to be extremely different than what they were facing at the lower division. So we will see. They do have one of the top first-round picks in the 2024 draft that's expected to go, and that's Michael Brenzig-Nygaard. So, that's one player to watch for sure, but again, not much else on the team that's going to be, name brand power that people will recognize, at least, internationally. Of course, I'm sure the people in Norway will know their players a lot more, but at the end of the day, the Norwegian team, first time in the group, I don't expect a lot of success. But I do think that you'll get quite a strong effort for sure and make the games at least somewhat interesting. So again, you're going to get some talent from the 2024 NHL draft class. You're going to get some returning talent from the past couple of drafts that have had experience of this tournament. Like I said, typically it is a case of the 19-year-olds kind of dominating this U20 World Junior Championship tournament. Canada, US, and Sweden, by far, in my opinion, the top three teams. With I think the U.S. might be my pick to win, but the Swedes will have something to say about it as well. So everything kicks off here on December the 26th and covered on TSN in Canada, NHL Network, and the U.S. Of course, the tournament itself being hosted over in Sweden this year will be returning to Canada and Ottawa, Ontario this time next year. So that is your preview for the 2024 World Junior Championships. Let me know your thoughts, some top players you're excited to see, which teams you think stand the best chance to win gold. We'll discuss further as a community down in the comments section. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around so you don't miss anything. We will be doing other videos to talk about the results of the tournament and look at the top players and how things break down as the action goes down. And of course, in case you are new to the channel, or you found my channel here through this video, we mainly cover the NHL, but of course during the NHL break over Christmas, we do cover this tournament pretty closely as well. So if you love the NHL, stick around. There is daily content posted to this channel regarding all kinds of NHL news and things to talk about. We have a great community here, and we'd love for you to join us. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.